Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my videos. Going to be giving you my reaction to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's press conference ahead of our game against Sheffield United tomorrow night. So, Solskjaer give his verdict on Frank Lampard getting sacked from Chelsea. He also give his thoughts on the form of Mason Greenwood and Edison Cavani. And he also give us an update on Jesse Lingard, Brandon Williams and Facundo Pellistri. And he's also give us an update on the Marcus Rashford injury. So, yeah, these were the questions that were asked to him during the press conference. So, anyway, we'll start with... Alright. Yeah, we'll start with the news on Frank Lampard anyway. So this was what was asked to him. Can I start with getting your reaction, Ollie, to the news that we've had about Frank Lampard losing his job at Chelsea? Ollie's response to that was, it's not really for me to comment too much on that one. One thing I know for sure is that Frank doesn't want any of us to feel sorry for him. That's for sure. I know his character, his mentality, and I'm sure he'll bounce back and have a very good managerial career. He just went through a bad patch for a spell. It wasn't long ago they were top of the league. It's the first dip of form they've really had under Frank. I'm a little bit surprised, but it's not my job to comment on what's happening at Chelsea. So that was his response to that. To be honest with you, I'm surprised at Chelsea, sacking Frank Lampard. Frank Lampard was in charge for just 18 months. But Chelsea have sacked a hell of a lot of managers. Obviously now they've got Thomas Tuchel in as their replacement. Thomas Tuchel's actually been talking about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer recently, and Tuchel has gone against Solskjaer 3 times. That's obviously when he was PSG manager. But a lot of Chelsea fans, disagree with them sacking Frank Lampard. So anyway, this was the second question that was asked to Ole. It's something you've experienced as a manager, that tricky run with that external pressure building. Manchester United backed you and now you sit at the top of the table. Is that an example that sometimes in these situations patience is a virtue? Ole's response to that was, well, I don't know. I can just comment on our club. Of course, we knew that we were going to have some rough and patchy periods, and they stood strong. I've had good backing from the club. The leadership has been very steady, which I feel very grateful for, because we've been through 2 or 3 really bad spells. We don't know what's happening behind the scenes. You don't know what's been happening behind the scenes here either. It's not for me to keep talking about our communication, but of course, it's always sad when someone loses their job. Third question. You said you were going to have a chat with Jesse Lingard about what the future holds. They are a lot interested parties. Do you think a loan would work for him, and what's happening with Brandon Williams? Is there a similar thing planned for him? So Ollie's response to that was, they're still part of our club, part of the squad, and training well. No deal has been struck for any player yet. There's still a little period left. Of course, there have been many clubs interested in our players, so let's see what happens. For me, it's important to take our wishes and our plans into consideration, and the players, of course, they are Man United people and players through and through. So that was Ollie's response to that. Now, I just recently give you the news on Jesse Lingard. Jesse Lingard is set to leave Manchester United, because ESPN recently said that we will allow him to leave the club. But actually, Solskjaer said earlier on this month he wanted Jesse Lingard to stay Now, Sky Sports and that have recently said that West Ham are set to sign Lingard on loan until the end of the season. They're leading the race. But Newcastle are in for him. Sky Sports have just said that West Brom have made an inquiry. I don't think he wants to go to Sheffield. Don't forget Solsjaer were in for him towards the end of last year. Villa have been in for him before. Tottenham have been in for him. Celtic and Rangers have been in for him. A few weeks ago, Nice were talking with Jesse Lingard's representatives. But Lingard lost his place in the team a while ago. Don't forget we did trigger that 1 year extension on his contract. Lingard hasn't played in the Premier League since July. This season he's played in 2 Carabao Cup games and he played in the FA Cup third round against Watford. He's made 133 appearances in the Premier League. And as for Brandon Williams, there has been rumours of him going out on loan because Brandon Williams seldom plays now because he's our third choice left back since the arrival of Alex Telles. I think it mentions that West Ham want him on loan. Don't forget at one point Southampton wanted him on loan. Williams did play a lot of games though last season, but the main explanation for that is because Luke Shaw had a couple of periods out with injury. Williams signed a 4-year contract before the start of this season, and at the start of this season we give Williams that number 33 shirt. So I think it'd be the right decision to put him out on loan to gain him more experience. So anyway, this was the next question that was asked to Ollie. I think at the start of the season we spent many weeks lamenting your home form. You've now won 5 of your last 6. Does that come with form and belief, or did you have to have a chat with the players to get that going again? So Ollie's response to that was, I've said it so many times, home or away, it doesn't really matter. It's just the surface of the pitch and they are no fans, no crowd. You don't have that extra man that we usually have, which we can't wait to get back again. The ground staff have done a good job, so we're happy with the surface. Our form has come through hard work, through the coaching, through the work the players have done. We knew the beginning was going to be hard for us, and it just felt that we had a few difficult home games to start with, and circumstances in those games were hard for us to overcome. Now the form is good, the mood is good, the confidence is good, the squad is fit and healthy. We are in a good moment. Of course you have to enjoy it, but it's focus on the next one. That's the only thing that matters. Next question to him. When you say the squad is fit and healthy, does that mean that Marcus Rashford is available tomorrow? Is there anyone who won't be available? So Solskjaer's response to that was that Marcus is available, yeah. He trained this morning, so he's available for selection. I think he tweaked his knee, but he'll be fine. He trained full this morning. We're looking strong, which is a good place to be in. So that's very, very good news, because I thought, Marcus Rashford was going to be a doubt for this game because he did sustain a knee injury in our 3-2 win against Liverpool in the Cup. He came off with this injury with just, 4 minutes to go. And he did mention that he was going to be having a scan on his knee. But I'm glad, he's okay. Rashford is one of our key players and he's really improved under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era. And Rashford obviously scored and got an assist against Liverpool, and he was causing a lot of problems down that left-hand side. So anyway, this was another question that was asked to him. I just wanted to ask about Amad Diallo and Facundo Pellistri. There is a lot of excitement about Amad and when we'll get to see him. Could you give us an update on that and if he'll be involved tomorrow? On Pellistri, there has been a suggestion that he could leave on loan. Spain has been mentioned. I don't know if you could update us on that. So yeah. So Ollie's response to that was, yeah, there have been talks. There have been quite a few clubs interested in Facundo to go out on loan. That's maybe something we will let him do now. He's had a few games in the reserves. We want him to have regular football, of course, at a high level. With Ahmad, I think it's a different scenario. He's just come in and he's going through a good training regime, training programme, and he's doing really well. It won't be too long, I feel, before I can bring him into the squad. So that's very, very good news. Because Solsjaer did say not so long ago that Amad Diallo Traore could be part of the first team squad in the next few weeks. You know, we got Amad Diallo Traore in a deal worth £37 million with add-ons included. We paid, what, £19 million up front. Amad Diallo Traore to Man United was official earlier on this month. Obviously, the deal was agreed back in October. And as for Facundo Palestre, yes, like Solsjaer said, he has played a few times in the reserves. Yeah, probably he's going out on loan now, but I'm sure when he comes back, you know, if he goes out on loan, he'll get his first team. He'll get his chance in the first team. Don't forget, not so long ago, Facundo Palestre had COVID. But I do like the way that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's promoted the youth, because he has give a lot of the young players their chances since he got appointed in as Man United manager. But he did say in general, didn't he, that everyone would get their chances to express themselves. And he's brought more young players into the club. So anyway, this was another question that was asked to him. Does the backing that you received extend talks about a new contract? You're into the final 18 months of yours. And would it be unusual for the club to allow that to go into the final year? So all his response to that was, we haven't had any discussions yet for me. It's a case of just keep doing my job as well as I can. So yeah, there hasn't been any talks yet over getting him a new contract. You know, like I've said on my recent videos, I think with reflecting on the progress he's made in the last year or so, I think he's on course to earn himself a new contract. This was another question that was asked to him. In terms of the conversations you've had with Ed Woodward and the owners, it must be positive for you because clearly they have been stuck by you. Solskjaer's response was, I've said it many a time that we looked at the squad, we looked at the situation we were in, and we put longer term plans in place. The club knew that there were going to be some patchy periods. We had to stay strong with a strong mentality, and the leadership they've shown has been very strong and steady. Of course, I've been very grateful about the communication that has been very open and honest all the time. So that was all response to that. And this was another question. For the last couple of years now, Man United have been sort of in the shadow of your biggest rivals, and maybe Liverpool especially. With the last result against Liverpool and your position in the table, is it safe to say that you're the big brother again? All his response to that was, we're not getting carried away. We know we have to get consistency results, performances. The two teams that have been top of the league for the last 3 years have been amazing. Absolutely incredible consistency. And in many other seasons, you would have won the league with 15, almost 20 points. Less than the two of them. We know that this is the start of something. We just have to be competitive and keep improving. No, we're not going to get carried away, but just keep working on as we do. This was another question. This was towards the end of the press conference, by the way. It was obviously a very challenging start to the season for Mason Greenwood, but after that performance against Liverpool, I expect him to fly out now and be a crucial asset in the back end of the season. So yeah, all his response to that was, we think Mason is going to be very important in the second half of the season, but it isn't just going to happen by itself because you had a good game and scored. He had a good game against West Ham a while back as well, and we expect him to kick on. I think Mason has taken steps. He has grown. he's more mature and he's been training with Edison Cavani for half the season now. He's learning good habits, and whoever doesn't learn good habits from a good professional like him or Bruno Fernandes or the players we've brought in, that's a pity. I'm very confident that Mason will chip in with good performances and goals and assists. So yeah, credit, Solskjaer for praising Mason Greenwood. Yes, and Mason Greenwood was very, very good against Liverpool. Like I mentioned, he got a goal and he also got an assist. And he did have a good game against West Ham earlier on in the season. But, Mason Greenwood's been in and out of the squad this season. I haven't really had much of a perception on him for the vast majority of this season. Because obviously earlier on in the season he had personal issues. One point he was out with injury. And at one point he was out of illness. But a few times this season Solskjaer's defended Mason Greenwood. But, Greenwood's got a lot of development in him. This was the final question of the press conference anyway. Solskjaer was asked this: given that Edison Cavani started 3 of the last 4 games he's played, 90 minutes in each of them, and is he really finding his stride? What does he bring to your team? So all his response to that was, how long have you got? When a striker of that age runs almost 12 kilometres, he chases down every time their centre-back has the ball, and when the keeper has the ball, he puts in tackles on the centre midfielders. He makes a mistake for that goal Liverpool scored, but he's the one that is closest to winning it back on his own 18-yard box. His reaction and his work rate and his habits and the threat in the box. The humility of coming in every day, single day, doing your best. We could go on and on. But his experience and his attitude has given us a lesson, every single one of us. So this was what was all mentioned during the press conference. And I've got to agree with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer regarding Edison Cavani. Cavani has made an impact since he's come in. He did play in the game against Liverpool recently in the Cup, but I thought he was quiet for the vast majority of that game. But to Edison Cavani's credit, he won us the free kick for Bruno Fernandes' winning goal. And he also hit the post. Not so long ago, Cavani was serving a 3-match ban. Don't forget, for the racist comment he'd put on social media back in December. Ollie confirmed he had apologised for that. We got Cavani on deadline day last summer on a free. He signed a 1-year contract with Man United with an option of a 2nd year. But we should be beating Sheffield United tomorrow. We are unbeaten in our last 10 games against Sheffield United in all competitions, winning 9 and drawing 1. Sheffield United's last league win against us was back in August 1992. I can assure that Sheffield United are getting relegated this season. They are bottom of the league. They've only won 1 game in the Premier League this season. And I've been very, very surprised at Sheffield United. I expected them to be a lot better than they have been this season. Sheffield United were actually very, very good last season. Did they finish, 8th or 9th? And that was very, very good to their standards. And I'm surprised, Chris Wilder hasn't been sacked. You've still got to give Chris Wilder credit. He got Sheffield United all the way from League 1 to the Premier League. Chris Wilder has been Sheffield United manager since 2016. So he's been at Sheffield United now, is it around 5 years or almost 5 years? Before he was at Sheffield United, he was at Northampton. He's managed Oxford before. He's managed Halifax, and he's also managed Alfred Town. And Sheffield United have got some good players in their team. McBurney, he's one of their key players. He's out with injury though at the moment. They've also got that Norwood, who's a good player. They've got Musset, he's one of their key players. He's out with injury. They've also got John Fleck. He's one of their key players. They've got Lundstrom. He's pretty good. They've got McGoldrick. He's certainly one of their key players. Osborne, he's out with injury. Robinson, he's out with injury. They've got Jack O'Connell now. He's out for the season. They've got that Sandy Berg. I think he's out with injury until March. They have got Egan suspended. And I think Sheffield have got, is it Jack Rodwell and Phil Jagielka in their team. The game at Old Trafford last season between us and Sheffield was 3-0 to us. Don't forget Anthony Martial had scored a hat-trick. We did beat them at Bramall Lane earlier on this season, 3-2. We came from behind in that game. We've got a big game at the weekend. We are away to Arsenal at the Emirates. That's going to be a tough game. We have been very, very good away from home in the league. We are unbeaten away from home in the Premier League for over a year. And we are unbeaten in our last 17 Premier League away games. We equalled the record from the 98-99 season. So if we do beat Arsenal at the weekend, we would have broken that record. We are unbeaten in our last 13 Premier League games. So if we beat Sheffield, we'll extend our unbeaten run to 14 in the league. The last team to beat us in the league was Arsenal at the start of November. I've already given you my starting 11 prediction for this game against Sheffield. Now, obviously, Solsjaer's confirmed Marcus Rashford's available. I think he's going to start now. Yeah. Ole Gunnar Solsjaer does deserve a lot of credit, though. You know, he's got us top of the Premier League. And no one thought we'd have been in this position, you know, of how poor we was earlier on in this season. So it just shows you some good results do change the complexion of things. There's a good chance we can win the Premier League this season. You know, if we do win the Premier League, it will be our first Premier League title since 2013. And it will be our 21st title overall. And it would be a remarkable achievement to win the Premier League. But yeah, you know, we can also win the FA Cup and we can win the Europa League. Solskjaer knows how important it is to get his first trophy on the board as Man United manager. We haven't won a trophy for just over, 4 years now. You know, Solskjaer has got us to the 5th round of the FA Cup. You know, we will be playing West Ham. That'll be pretty tough because West Ham have been pretty impressive this season. You know, he got us to the EFL Cup semi-final earlier on this season. We did lose that game to Manchester City 2-0. I was disappointed, but Manchester City are a very good team. Obviously, you know, there's a chance they can win the league this season. And they are very good as well in the EFL Cup because City have won it for the last 3 seasons in a row. And they've obviously reached their 4th consecutive League Cup final. They are playing Tottenham in the final. Solskjaer did well last season in his first full season. He got us qualification for the Champions League, got us 3rd, and he guided us to 3 semi-finals. And you wouldn't have thought he'd have done that in his first full season because at the first part of last season, we enjoyed our worst start to a Premier League season for around 30 years. We also went on a 19-game unbeaten run in all competitions last season. And we was 14 unbeaten in the Premier League. You know, Solskjaer has made good signings as Man United manager. He's spent over £200 million at the club. You know, this January transfer window is his 5th transfer window as Man United manager. You know, Solskjaer obviously hasn't got all the players that he wanted to recommend in, and obviously in that aspect the blame stems from the board. The board has been one of the biggest problems at the club for several years. But Solskjaer did say not so long ago, our fine form justifies the club's support. So what he means in that aspect is, with the backing he has received recently, that's played a part in our good vein of form. But yeah, don't forget, Woodward promised that, he will back Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and he said towards the end of last year he'll back Solskjaer with a long-term plan centred around summer transfer windows. We've seen a hell of a lot of players leave Man United since Solskjaer came in as well. Timothy Fosu-Mensah earlier on this month left to join Bayer Leverkusen. We've seen players like Lukaku and Ander Herrera leave. We've seen Sanchez leave. We've seen Angel Gomez leave. We've seen Darmian leave. We've seen Smalling leave. We've seen Young leave. We've seen Valencia leave. There's also players that we have loaned out. Don't forget, we loaned Dalot out. We loaned Andres Pereira out. We loaned James Garner out. We did loan Dylan Levitt out as well. I think his loan got terminated though at Charlton, was it? We loaned Joe Pereira out again for another season. I think there's a few other youngsters that we have loaned out. And obviously, there's more players that we are looking to get rid of this year, because Solskjaer has said that there could be further more departures in this January transfer window. He did say prior to the game against Fulham that there could be 1 or 2 more departures. And looks like now, Jesse Lingard is leaving the club. Ole has confirmed that Sergio Romero and Marcus Rojo are free to leave the club because he said their contracts won't be extended. We're expecting Odin Ighalo to leave. His loan expires on the 31st, end of this month. There's obviously been rumours of Daniel James, like I mentioned, going because he's lost his place in the team, and there's been rumours of Brandon Williams going out on loan as well. And I think more players could leave Man United in the summer. Juan Mata could be leaving in the summer. Solskjaer admits that Juan Mata's future is uncertain. But he said he was closing on an exit, reflecting on Solskjaer's recent admission. Juan Mata's contract expires in June. Matic could also leave the club in the summer. But there's also a lot of players that we are going to keep at the club as well. Obviously going to keep Rashford. We're going to keep Martial, despite him being out of form for the vast majority of this season. Obviously, we're going to keep Cavani. I think Cavani's going to see out his contract at the club. He's short term, reflecting on his age. Obviously, we're going to keep Mason Greenwood. We're obviously going to keep Bruno Fernandes. We're going to keep Donny van de Beek for now. He's obviously been rumours of Donny van de Beek going out on loan, but we've obviously rejected several loan offers for Donny van de Beek. And don't forget, Solskjaer's promised Van de Beek more game time at Man United, and he said prior to the game against Liverpool that Van de Beek is unhappy at the club because of his lack of game time. I think we need to put him as a box-to-box midfielder, because that was actually his predominant position at Ajax, but you can play him in like 3 different roles. We'll obviously keep Fred because he's really, really improved under Ole. Paul Pogba, as you all know now, could be staying because he's been very, very good since he came back from that ankle injury that he had earlier on in the season. We'll keep McTominay. He can play well when he wants to. We're going to keep Luke Shaw because he's really, really improved. Defensively he's done well. Show good attacking intent, got in good positions, put good crosses into the box. We're obviously going to keep Harry Maguire because he's improved. Bay's been exceptional since he started playing again. And Wan-Bissaka, we're also going to keep him. And De Gea, we're going to keep him for now. De Gea is getting back to his best. And Dean Henderson will also keep him. I think at some point, Dean Henderson will become our number 1. So anyway guys, that's everything to update you for today. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless you all again very, very soon.